What's up? What's up? What's up? Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Floor is Yours podcast. It is Thursday night, and so you know what time it is. It's time for some real talk, y'all. Thank you so much for joining us. We know that there's a lot of other things you could be doing, but you decided to join us, and so we're so grateful for it. And you know, every week it is our mission and desire to bring some real and relevant conversations to the community so we can move the community forward. And so people may be shopping at Target, some people may not be shopping at Target, but you took time to be with us tonight. And so we thank you. We're going to figure out what's going on with this boycott pretty soon. Is it on? Is it off? I've heard both things. But before we get into the boycott, please like, share, and subscribe. Tell everybody the Floor is Yours podcast is on. Tell your mama, tell your daddy, tell your uncle, tell your cousin, tell your dog, tell your cat that the Floor is Yours podcast is on. And get ready for a conversation tonight. And you know, hey, I got the best crew in town. I couldn't do without my fam. First and foremost, hey, listen, I got the other half of the G unit with me tonight. Mr. Gerard, the Flex, the producer, is in the house. Say what's up to the people.
Evening, people. Evening, people.
Good to have you, my brother. Good to have you. I like the cap. That's the real black stuff right there. That's
really, man. I'll just leave it at that.
Appreciate it. Yeah, looking good, looking good. And of course, we got the queen herself in the house tonight. The first lady of the Floor is Yours podcast is with us, Miss Amisha. I see. Say what's up to the people, please.
Hey, unit. No, I'm letting y'all see I got a little holy hood in me. I'm finna give y'all all of me this year. I mean, some of you gonna be able to handle it. Some of you will not. Either way, it doesn't matter.
Holy hood.
I get in where I fit in. Yeah, I'm a spiritual baddie, baby. That's what I'm gonna call my spiritual baddie. How y'all doing tonight? I'm glad to be with my brothers.
Yeah. It's all good to be ratchet and righteous at the same time. You know,
ratchet me, baby. Balanced. Hey.
Yeah, definitely. Amisha, are you shopping at Target?
I mean, honestly, I don't really shop.
What card you playing?
I really don't shop at Target, like for real.
Oh, you don't?
No, that's Target. They're a little bougie. I like to go to El Salvador. That's the Salvation Army and Goodwill.
I love it.
She keeps it real, y'all. She keeps it
real.
I
do like to shop at my locals. Another hat tonight. But anyway.
Yeah, dope hat.
Yeah.
You know, tonight, so everyone watching tonight, we're going to get into it. You hear us talk a lot about relationships, and largely we do talk a lot about male perspectives. But tonight, we want to turn the tables, and we want to talk about the importance of our women tonight. And so today we're talking about a virtuous woman is beyond comparison. And so what we want to dive in today is the importance of women and how women discover where they can discover their purpose and their real value today. And so you know how we like to do. We like to give these real raw conversations mixed in with a little bit of scripture. And so tonight we're going to be drawing our conversation largely from the biblical story of the woman in the well tonight. And the scene is such that Jesus is now moving from one location to another because it's getting very popular due to baptisms. And so Jesus wanted to kind of get away, find some peace and quiet. So he's on a journey. He goes to Samaria. And while he's in Samaria, he comes to a well and he meets a woman at the well. And while he's at the well, the woman and Jesus have a conversation that literally changes her life. Jesus, but he sees in her. And so after this conversation, Jesus explains his living water, and that her life has changed forever. Haven't read the story of the woman, I want to invite you to get your Bible out tonight. Turn to John chapter 4. John chapter 4, and you can follow along with us. But we're going to dive to some of the takeaways and some of the news that we think can be gleaned from this woman a little bit. So this woman is at the well. The story tells us she's been married 5. She's currently living with a man that's not her husband, and now she meets Jesus. And so I think that if we're honest, that's a true story for a lot of people, male or female. You've had this. And I have heard some women refer to themselves as used goods, that life after I've been married twice, been married 3 times. I got who's going to want me. What do you think that stigma comes from, and is that a valid stigma? Because you are of a certain age, married, and you got kids, you're used goods, and you no longer serve a purpose. Because Kevin Samuels, if a woman's over 40, been married, and got kids, no man's going to want her. What you guys think about that?
Yeah, I'll just start. I know I just think about how many times in scripture it compares how man sees each other, but then how God sees us too. And Gregory, you and
Yeah,
I talked about that a few times when it's important to know how God sees you, right? Because men devalue you all day long. Sometimes it may be some accuracy or some truth to what they say about you. But I know our creator, you know, that old saying we hear growing up, that I know I'm somebody because God didn't create junk, right? And
yeah,
you know that's true sentiments. God created us all with what's called intrinsic value. And I think it is important to know our worth, because if you don't know your worth, you're going to allow somebody else to place value on you that doesn't reflect who God intended you to be. So I think that's
right.
something that women should be mindful of. You know,
It,
yes, you
it,
may have been in other relationships, but so have men, right? And I don't think it's
right.
fair. But you know, the way they try to, um, you know, just downplay a woman's value.
It does seem like it's a harder road for women to walk when they reach a certain age or they have children. For men, they look at that as character building experience, but for a woman, for some reason, she it's like she decreases in value the older she gets or the number of children she gets. Amisha, to us a little bit about that. Do you think women of a certain age and a mother can still bring value to a man's life?
Oh, I got a whole testimony session over here. My mother, my mother is 71. My mother got married at 68. Oh,
Wow.
there's some value there. You hear me? And a man that married my mother doesn't have any children, but he still came and found the woman that he desired that has three grown children that have their own children. And now I have grandbabies that are his grandchildren. So there was a fulfillment that when he got connected to my mama, he got rich in spirit and value because of what she already possessed and had that he came into. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna go. That right there. And at the end of the day, when I look at some things, there are the words that we use called antique and classics, right? There is
Hmm.
something about a car or an old
Vintage.
watch or something that is vintage and all that
Yeah.
that we place value on. I may be older, but I am vintage, baby. I am classic, and I am a possession that somebody knows the value of. Even though my beginning led to me having children early, I had a career, I've sustained myself. Because at the end of the day, when I look at me, I'm going to tell the younger generation, you better keep up. You hear what I'm talking about? So
Hmm.
I believe that that's just been the stereotype of what men have been taught to say to women. But like Gerard said, this is not just a one-way street. It go both ways. I can look at a man and say, if you over here with a slew of children and over here, what do I want with your little tink tink wrinkled up ding ding pass around self? Because one thing about it, honey, the word that they like to try to say about those type of women, I look at men the same way, and I think that's the difference. I don't answer to a lot of things that don't that's a title that don't fit me.
Yeah.
So I feel like women should know who they are and what they're possessing. And when I look at life, I feel like sometimes getting married later in life is a little bit better.
Yeah.
There's some
Yeah, it definitely is because you know clearer, right? You know, like what
Yeah,
you
well,
don't
at the
like,
end of
what
the
you're gonna
day,
do, what you're not gonna
you've
do.
balanced out life. You know what it is to be
Hmm.
a sustainable factor as a mother to your children, to be in a relationship to balance
Yeah,
all three of them. But once you get everybody where they need to be, you can really sit down and put in the work without having to balance getting the kids her, getting the kids there, whatever. There is
yeah,
a little bit of release of responsibility that you have to put into trying to be with somebody as well. So, ladies, let me tell you something. Don't listen to that BS.
Yeah. Hey, but
see,
let's be honest with that too, if we can. and this is not a value thing like somebody's not worthy. It can make it a little more challenging. I think it's important that we're conscious of that. That old saying that you can't teach a old dog new tricks. Not saying that we are dogs or whatever, but
Mhm.
it is different. I think we all can attest to that. Starting a relationship at in your late 30s, 40s, or even 50s versus when you're 18, 20, 25, and 30. I just think it's a little bit more challenging, a lot more to consider, especially with the example that Misha brought up when she
Mhm.
talked about have a career. Now you're having to marry these different career paths, if you will, passions, goals, ambitions, dreams, all that right there. Again, not that it's impossible, but it can be more challenging. And I think it's important to be conscious of that. But that has nothing to do with your value. I just did want to throw that little caveat in
Don't.
Yeah, yeah. These
there.
these stereotypes, what we heard Kevin Samuels espouse, sometimes it does stop women from embracing their future or really reaching their potential. As we look at the scene of the woman at the well, she comes to the well to draw water. Jesus approaches her and says, "Will you pour me a drink?" And she immediately says, "But I'm a Samaritan, and Jews don't talk to Samaritans." Right then and there, she says, "Because of my class, I'm not worthy to engage with you. You shouldn't be speaking to me, for somehow I'm lesser than you." And so when women get the ideal in their head that they are lesser than or not worthy of, it stops them from really achieving what they can achieve. And in the story, it stopped this woman from having a conversation with Christ. And so there are some stigmas out there that sometimes women get halted in and they get stopped in, but we want to have the conversation today about how to come out of that, and so that you're not just stuck in what mama said, daddy said, your ex-boyfriend, your ex-husband said. But how can you pull yourself out of that so that you can really reach your highest potential? And so as I adjust myself right here in my seat, one of the things about this particular story that I find amazing is that the woman already had value. She just needed Jesus to point it out to her. She
Yeah.
already had it inside of her. Jesus just said, "Don't you know?" How many times do you think, how as women go through life, right, and they're struggling with dating and career, how much of the hardship is it self identity or the external world oppressing women, do you think? Is it more so women not embracing their own power, or is it really society, racism, and sexism holding women down? What's your thoughts on that?
Misha?
It can be a combination of the two, because it could go back to how you were raised, how they taught you should be, and what you could put up with and not. But the way we live now, we put a high emphasis on how women look at themselves or how you
Yeah,
should. So you kind of got to look at which era of life that you're in. Now, for me back in the day, it was like, hey, they want you to take a whole bunch just to stay and stuff. Nowadays, women are not taking a whole lot anymore. But I think we should put more value on ourselves to know that no matter what society wants us to be and how mama and auntie and them want us to be, what do you see yourself and what is the value that you possess for you in the role that you want to take, and to remove the stereotypes and all the ways that you were groomed to move and to operate. And then I feel like we would be in a better place. But I do feel like the way you were raised and society plays a big impact on it.
Yeah, that's good. And if I could just add to it, that's a great response. I appreciate that female's insight on that. I would say from a male's perspective, I tell women a lot, like, you are valuable, but not if you're in the wrong market, right? You
Mhm.
can possess
mm,
some of the greatest desirable gifts that some people would want, but if you go to a market or a group of men or whatever who don't value those things, then you're nothing to them. And I think sometimes people spend time in those areas, with people trying to prove their worth, trying to defend themselves, trying to make excuses or reason with them about some of the mistakes they may have made in the past. And I think that's a waste of time, right? So I think it's important to know the market that you're in. Like, what if you're trying to prove your worth to people that don't value those things that you value? I think it's just a waste of time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. I want to talk a minute about the word thirsty. And so, in today's society, we use the word thirsty as a male or female who is looking for attention. And if you ever been in any type of counseling, what a psychologist would tell you is that a man's greatest weakness is his lust. A woman's greatest weakness is her desire for attention. So there's this desire to be wanted, to be needed. One is sexual and one is vanity. So a man's greatest weakness is his lust. A woman's greatest weakness is her desire for attention. And so we see this scene in the Bible where Jesus tells the woman, "Pour me some water." And he says, if you knew who you were talking to, you would have asked him to pour you some water. She says, well, you don't have anything to give it to me. And he says, anyone who drinks this water would never be thirsty again. And so I love that because it's a play on words that we have now taken the word thirsty as being eager for attention, doing whatever it takes to get noticed, posting thirst traps on all our social media, showing off our bodies and all that kind of stuff. And men are guilty of that as well. One
Mm.
of the greatest sicknesses that I see today is thirst. And thirst to me comes from um, a low self identity. You really don't know your worth. And so what you do is you go for the low hanging fruit. And so, and you put in what is easiest to advertise, and that is the
Mm.
flesh.
Yeah.
Amisha, where do women get that desire for that type of attention from? I hear the conversation a lot that a father is the first love of a little girl, right? And that if a father loves his daughter accurately, in the way that a father should, then she won't be as thirsty. Um, how true do you think that actually resonates? Do you think that a father being a girl's first love can help set off some of that thirstiness?
I do. I feel like for me, the father is the first earthly man that loves or should love a little girl.
Hmm.
He is the one that sets the atonement on how she that looks at how a man treats. And that's also how she sees him as he treats her mother or the woman that he is connected to. And when she is recording all of these things, then it begins to build a foundation on what she sets herself up to accept, to take on, or to not deal with. And so, for me, not knowing, seeing my dad pour out love, how do I know what to accept if I've never seen him do it? So if I'm looking for this value, or if you don't take me on simple dates, like even just going to McDonald's, making it simplicity or spending some quality time, it does have a ripple effect because then I begin to seek out what this looks like. Or how am I supposed to feel and all of these different things. So I think there is, for me, there is a standard that when the father is present and active and begins to set the atonement on how he talks to her, the tone of his voice, how he,
Hmm.
does these things with her, it sets a foundation for her. But if she doesn't have it, go ahead.
So if women don't have that, what do they do to
So then
replace
what
that
you
earthly
start doing,
father?
you start looking for love in all the wrong places because there is a desire and a feel that you have. Now, most
Hmm.
women don't get with men for money. Most of them get with a man because they want them to validate the presence of them. Like, I see you. Not the fact
Hmm.
I want you to see my body. I want you to see my heart. I want you to see that I am here. So most of the time for me, it wasn't about being with a man for his money because I made money. I had a house. I
Yeah.
didn't need those things to be fulfilled. And the truth be told, women don't necessarily let's just be where we're grown. Intimacy is made for male and female. But most of those things can be accomplished. I'm not saying you're gonna get the best fulfillment, but you can do those things. But there's a place of intimacy that women want, and it's not the physical touch. I think it can be led to that because we can control a situation with the intimacy part. Sometimes we know how to maneuver, how to draw in, but at the end we're still empty because there is a void that has not been filled, and that is being able to be seen and present, and that you communicate effectively with me, and we do things that nurture the part of me that wants to be loved correctly.
Yeah. 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 Gerard, I want you to help put the ladies up on game because it's very easy for us as men to see women that have daddy issues. And we can spot them a mile away, women that are thirsty, who are just searching for attention.
Mm,
What are some of the ways men look at women and go, oh, she's just thirsty. She's
Yeah,
just looking for someone to notice her. She's just looking for some attention. How do men pick up on that vibe?
yeah. And, good question, and it's like no secret sauce to it. It's one of those things like what you lead with is what you're going to attract.
mm,
It's going to determine what you attract. So if a woman leads with skin, cleavage, revealing clothing, she's
Yeah.
going to attract that kind of attention. If she's more conservative, and this is not a right or wrong. I'm not telling anyone how to dress or
mhm.
behave or not. I don't want to lead as that type of discussion. But if you look at it like a bait, and when you're fishing, when you're trying to catch certain fish, what kind of bait that you should use, right? So a woman that leads with her intellect, if you will, or um, I think that's just going to determine that influences. I ain't gonna say they're going to determine absolutely, but it does influence the type of person that you're going to be drawn to. And it's unfortunate that we sexualize so many things these days, and the flesh with a lot of men determines who they or how they uh,
Approach.
treat approach and treat a woman. But I think it's important for women to know, like, what you lead with is going to act like bait, and it's going to influence the type of man that you attract.
Yeah. Well, I'm about to step on some toes, Amisha. You may have to walk me home with this, because I may get in trouble after I say this. So we look at this story, right? And the woman tells Jesus, "I want this water. I don't want to be thirsty anymore, right? I don't want to lead with my flesh. I don't want to lead with vanity. I don't want to lead with attention." And Jesus looks her right in the eye, and he says, "Go call your husband and come back." She
Mm,
says, "I have no husband," right?
mm,
And so it was interesting to me when Gerard just responded to when a woman, shows a lot of cleavage. He made a concession. He made a little bit of an apology. He said, "You know what? I don't want to tell women how to dress." But don't women want a man that is strong enough to tell her right from wrong? That is wrong and that is right. If you dress this way, men are going to think this. What is wrong with a man correcting a woman in a righteous way? Are women able to do that? Such as Jesus is about to do as we go a little bit further in this scene here. He's about to wholly check her. Do you think
mm.
women are open to being checked in a godly way? I may need a bodyguard after that.
To be honest, I really think it ain't. I think it's the mindset and where that woman is
Okay.
where the line of where she is moving closer to God, still straddling the fence, or she just still way over left. And I believe, honestly, it's the approach on which you bring it to her that is receptive as
Mm.
well. But she has to be in a place that she is in transition to know or desiring to be better in order to accept it.
Yeah. And you
So
know
I,
what, Gregory? There's so much
Yep.
subjectivity in that discussion. Like, how much is it? So there are some cultures where the woman is covered, you
mm-hmm,
know, even so much so they look at the hair as a object of attraction, or the eyes, right? I spent
see,
time in
yeah,
Afghanistan, Iraq, and Kuwait. Those women are covered. It's so much so you can't even tell the color of their eyes. And then, I'm thinking about the hoop and holler that went on with Jamal Bryant's wife. I can't even think her name right now. No disrespect to her,
Carrie,
Carrie,
huh?
Carrie,
Carrie,
Yeah, yeah,
Dr.
yeah,
Carrie Bryant.
yeah. And a lot was said about what she was wearing, and people were saying like uh, a first lady should not. And I'm just like, if that's because she's a first lady, maybe that should be applied to women in general or all people. Like, what's revealing, what's appropriate. And I think a lot of that is based off tradition and culture, and on self-imposed rules. And I'm saying all that just to say, like, there's a lot of subjectivity to it. Again, some people are taught that you can't show legs, that you should wear long skirts. And I think we get into just a tangled web when you try to a certain degree try to dictate what's appropriate and what's not appropriate. And to your question, Gregory, do women want a man that can? I think some do and some don't. But I think even you, from some men perspective, I've talked to some men that they don't want that kind of control, if you will. I think where there's an abundance of rules and laws, that there is less grace and freedom. Now, again, that don't mean that you can't set healthy boundaries that works for you both. But I think when you get to be this domineering or controlling, um, judgmental man trying to dictate what she wear, I think it can be sticky. And that's just me. That is how I look at it.
And there's a level of respect that comes with it in relationships, that you will honor and value and respect the choice of clothes you wear, knowing that you have a man. Now, let's be honest. When you built for it tough, honey, you can put on a coca sack, whatever, moo. You just gonna be what you are. Uh, and a body just gonna show what it is. But it's the way and the manner in which you present yourself in it and how you carry yourself that would be the issue, that would cause the disrespect in the relationship and bring lesser value to yourself. So I feel like you have to know what you should do and not do to be respectful to your spouse or your mate.
And can I add to that real quick?
Mhm.
It's not just what you should do. It's also, again, knowing the market, right? I
Right.
remember the time when yoga pants and tights was a no-go in public. And now that's one of the most popular garments out there, right? They crucified Michelle Obama in the White House because she had her arms out, right? And
Oh, the
that's what I'm
arms
saying.
out.
Like,
Yeah,
at
yeah.
some point, man, I think in that the Lord's Prayer, when he says on heaven as it in heaven as it is on earth, or on earth as it is in heaven, I
Hmm.
think we should be looking to a point to where it's not all on the woman. That we should also control our own desires in our flesh. Does that stuff influence? Yeah, but that's the thing. I don't think it's realistic to think that we can eliminate any and every desire, because there are many, right? What influences or turns me on could be totally different from Gregory, right? And I think it's incumbent on the men too, as the woman is being considered what she wears. But we need to be also mindful of how we see women and how we interact with them and how we treat them.
Yeah, I got a 24 pack of yoga pants in my Amazon cart. Cash at me so I can buy them.
I think also it is a lot to say about the relationship equity. How much have you invested in this relationship? How have you showed up in this woman's life? How have you been consistent? Have you been trustworthy? And once you've built a certain level of relationship equity, I think she is open to hearing your perspective and maybe even taking some guidance on certain issues. But you just can't come in day one saying this is how it's going to be because I'm the man. But I do think that a godly man is responsible for himself, and he's also responsible for his partner. He won't let her do anything that's going to cause harm or put her in danger, and that sometimes will ruffle some feathers or make her feel uncomfortable. But I think if you built up enough relationship equity, she will know that it's coming from a good place. She will consider it, even if she has a difference of opinion, and it doesn't have to be any friction. Because when you know that I love you, and I've shared and I've showed you that I love you, then what I say to you, you know, is coming from love, and we don't have to argue or fuss or fight about it. We can have a conversation, and we can meet somewhere in the middle, hopefully.
And I think at the end of the day, it's just me. I'm a little more liberal than most. I think it's still her decision, right? Because while we are responsible, it's a shared responsibility. I'm not solely responsible. I don't own her, right? Now, when you're talking about that
Hmm.
level of covering, Jesus came in and almost I don't want to say abolished the law, but what the laws attempted to do, the Bible said it was powerless to do, but it was the grace and love and forgiveness and forbearance and all that brought people to a better relationship with each other, right? How to treat each other, how to respect each other, how to honor each other at the same time while maintaining a certain level of independence. And I think, again, it can get sticky, and, especially when people start relationships later on in the years, when they built up a level normalcy and independence with themselves, trying to get in that space. I'm not saying that it won't work, but I think it should it shouldn't solely be on her on what she wears and how she shows herself. Too, I think the public has a responsibility to show themselves professional too. Not that they always will,
Do
and
you
I think,
think that
huh?
do you think that women feel like they are compromising their value when they submit to their husband? Because it seems like there's a struggle because women will they know their worth, they know their capabilities, they know what they can do. But if I have to acquiesce, submit, and consider and change my way because my husband likes a thermostat at 70 degrees, but I like it at 73. Why should I have to do that? Do you think that women feel like they're losing some of that value when they have to make these compromises over and over and over and over again to make the relationship work? Go ahead, Anisha.
I'm no. I'm sorry because see some comments jump up in the section. It just kind of just shake my spirit. I gotta snap back over here, but don't worry about it.
Okay.
Oh, when it comes to like the thermostat stuff, like come on, if he over here needing those 72, there is a thing called pajama socks. I mean, a little heat on my side of the bed. It's just some of those things that you can just work around. I'm just saying.
You're right.
Um, I know, like, but when it comes to so it definitely you're talking about the dressing. It what a woman may not truly like the outfit that a man pick out, and she was like, you know what? Or he may have a belly that come over. She be saying, I might need you to do something with that. So how would he feel? Does that tear him down? I think you got to look at this thing both ways because we want all these expectations. But why am I with you, knowing that life could change at any moment, and I don't adapt and adjust to it? That
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
growth and
Yeah.
maturity for me. Because I
Some
I mean
issues are
I
more complicated, like parenting and finances and
Yeah. I mean,
in-laws.
I,
Those
I
things
ain't
get
the,
a
I
little more
ain't
complicated.
the slimmest, thickest that I used to be, but I'm still all right. And I could be down on my own self for those things. And so if you hear it over here with your husband, it could bother you, but it could. That's if you're already in a vulnerable state with yourself. So it's not that he's tearing you down. It's just an enlightenment that's now in this big bubble that, oh, I think this about myself. And now he's saying it. So then this is how we begin to shut down. So I don't know. I don't think that those things they shouldn't be um big issues, but for some people they are.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's sad that it is that way. And but I don't feel like women we feel that we should lose ourselves. But I remember feeling that way back in the day for myself that if I submitted to this man and he was wanting me to change and do all of these things, that I don't think it took the value away from me, but it made me lose a little bit of my glow. That why do I have to do all of this changing to make you feel so good and so secure when I'm already who I am? Now I feel like it makes me dummy down who I am to please you and to make you well, and that's not fair.
Especially in public, right? How
Right.
does everybody else? And I think that's a common thought in it. It is like, what are people going to say? What are people going to say? And I think we can be overly concerned
Hmm.
sometimes with what other people say about what you're doing, where you're going, and because it gets that way sometimes. They don't just stop at your dress. It's where you're going. It's what you're eating, who you're
Yeah.
hanging with, and what you're watching on TV, and it's how you spending your money, and what your mama doing, and it just that judgmental mindset. I just think it's it's toxic, and I think it was again the mates what y'all come up on as appropriate. I think that's what's most important, and but I think a lot of times it is uh, um, just overly concerned about what others see and say.
And then let me add to this too, because it's amazing how you were attracted or what attracted you to her was already the yoga pants in the beginning anyway. It was already the sundress. There may have been a little thong or no panties at all, because let's be real on the show. But then you get her and you don't want her to be in those things. But it's the one thing that got your attention. So now all of a sudden it's wrong because she's now, oh, but you my wife now. Well, I was your girlfriend then, and you were attracted to that. So there still should be some form of you are
I
who
don't
you
see that
are.
as a contradiction. I don't see that as a contradiction because if I see a car on a park on a car lot, say it's a
Hmm.
Porsche, my dream car, and I see it, what I see is attracting me to that car. But when I get it home, I'm going to cover it. I'm going to put it in the garage. I'm going to make sure it's safe. No one can break into it. And the same thing with my lady. I see it. I'm attracted to it. But when it becomes mine, I'm going to do what I can to keep it protected. I don't see
I
a
see what you're
contradiction
saying.
in that.
I think the issue is that I think,
That's a little bit different than what you
yeah,
said. You were, but it's the attraction that got you. So you're gonna protect it, true enough. But at the same time, it's still the same car. It still got the same body work. It still got the same leather. It's still the same,
same mindset.
right?
So now are you bringing something in that you knew was there, but I'm going to change that for me, and I don't think that's
So
holy.
that means if you got the car that you would enjoy, but all of a sudden you like, you know what? I want this car, but they didn't have it in black, but I'm gonna buy it in red. But when I get it, I'm gonna change it to black. I really wanted 22s, but it came with 20s. But when I get it, I'm
Hmm.
gonna put some 20s on. So it
Gotcha.
didn't come with
Gotcha.
no tent.
Yeah.
But now that I got it, I think I want to put. So let me check. So we can take this, and I respect your analogy to that. So, but let's tweak it. However, let's tweak it, not but because that's dismissive. But however, let's tweak it. So when you look at it
Hmm.
from that point of view, then it really wasn't a car that you really wanted. You got something that was partially satisfying you, and then you wanted to get it to make it your own.
Yeah, that's why
Mm,
I look at it.
that's
Yeah,
good.
yeah, because
That's
So
good.
then it comes more into a possession
yeah,
and not a value.
yeah.
I felt the spirit on that one. Oh, thank you, Greg, for
You
taking
could
me up
you
there.
help
I
you help
appreciate it.
somebody with that one. As we go into the story a little bit more, and Jesus is about to empty his clip on this Samaritan woman. He's about to shoot some shots about to be fired. And he says, go get your husband. She says, I have no husband. Jesus looks at her and says, you're right. You don't have a husband. You've had five, and the man you're with now is not your husband.
Hmm.
Is what I tell you true? He calls her out, and he says, what have you just said is quite true. You don't have a husband. You've had five. And so the woman replied, yes. And then she tells that she's aware that there is a Christ coming who will tell us everything about ourselves and then direct us toward how to be holy and how to be pure. So she's aware that there is a Christ. She's aware of her symptoms and her struggles and her pain. She's aware that there is an opportunity, but her mindset is preventing her from embracing it when it's standing right in front of her. She's aware that there is a Christ who is coming, but it's the mindset of I'm not worthy enough that's keeping her blocked from seeing what is right in front of her.
And I think that what's making her not wear it, and correct me if I'm wrong, Gregory, it's
Hmm.
not just her own insecurities or inner feelings, thoughts. There's society also. They talked about in there that how they viewed the Samaritans, and they wouldn't even, the Jewish people wouldn't even intermingle
Yeah.
with them. So
And
there's,
not even just Samaritans, but women. Women were looked at as less than animals at this particular
yes,
time.
yeah,
The cattle was looked at as more valuable than a woman.
yeah,
Mm.
Hmm. Hmm.
yeah. I just want to
Is
point that
and
out. It wasn't just her, it was also society, which, goes
Yeah.
back to what we were talking about and what other people think about you as well.
yeah. Again, so Jesus empties his clip, shots are fired, he calls her out, he confronts her with the truth. And then Jesus says, I am the one. The one speaking to you, I am he, I am the Christ. And then from there, she goes forth and she begins to tell the good news of the message. And she eventually goes back to her town and says, I met a man that knew everything about me. And then starts telling everybody about Jesus. It took a bit of a confrontation. She had to be confronted with her truth. Now, we all have had to face the truth that we've all done some dirt, that we are the villain in somebody's story. We're not the hero in every scene in our lives, and there's some scenes where we were the bad guy. And so we had to be confronted with that truth. How do you think women process or accepting the fact that they are the villain? Because I tend to think men are okay with it. Like, okay, So what? Whatever. He deserved it. She deserved it. I got mine. Do you do you think there's a difference between the way women process their ugly side versus the way men process their ugly side? The ugliness of life. I think so. I think men are more accepting of it than women.
Oh, they ugly side.
Mhm.
Men don't even want to touch it. They don't talk about it. They hide
Tell
their
me about
brokenness. They will not expose it. They will keep it in the grave almost. Before women will come out a little bit, women will come out a little bit faster. But men, no. Mm-mm. They are secret society, if you
maybe.
ask me.
Go ahead.
They are secret society.
I love this discussion. I think maybe men don't come out in front of other women and say this is because the conversations I have man to man, they'll tell you every dirty deed they've done, how they did it, who they did it with, how many times they did it. But I think you do have a valid point that when in front of a woman, men tend to be more tight-lipped. Like, nah, I'm not like the other guys. I'm different.
But watch
You
this.
know.
Just like they say the beauty shop is like, oh, that's where it go down. Trust me. A woman 9 times out of 10 already know the dirty deed, the all that of the some men that approach them. Because just like women have conversations, men do too. So there you begin to know, or you can even see who they hang out with, the caliber of the men they run with. It speaks a lot about them. So they may not fully speak it out loud to a woman, oh, but the residue of them is there.
Yeah, yeah. I like what Carlika said. She said maybe with other men, and I think that's what Gregory's
Mm-hmm.
talking about. And I think it also depends on the caliber of men and the purpose of that conversation. Right? We don't just walk around talking about our shortcomings and what we are have failed at. It's not like just a normal conversation. I think it depends on the context of the conversation,
Mm-hmm.
the the need to even be open and share that information. Right? But I will say to Gregory's point, if you're, I've been around a lot of mature men who do embrace, you know,
Mm-hmm.
their flaws. And but I've been around some women as well. Now, I think, but part of what Gregory is talking about as well is that, you know, we see it on social media that women struggle with apologizing or they hate being held accountable. Now, I think that's a certain caliber of woman too, just like I just said with men. So I hesitate or I stop short of placing that as a blanket statement over women in general. But I think it's something that's out there that worthy of a discussion. So yeah. Uh,
You know, we're talking about a virtuous woman's beyond
That man
beyond
got
comparison. Amisha, did you say something?
I was reading a comment that he had posted, but
yeah.
keep going. You're good.
Look at
And so I
the
just
comments. And
wanted
hey,
I
keep the
wanted to
comments coming. Just let the audience know we get into them. We'll see them
Yeah.
when we get to the audience, the comments here in the short moment.
What were you saying?
now I wanted to highlight the fact that here it was. So we're talking about a virtuous woman is beyond comparison. And so we talked about a woman who at the beginning of this conversation of meeting Jesus felt like she was less than because she's a woman, because of her social, racial identity, where she was brought up, and how society viewed her. But by the end of this conversation of meeting Jesus, she found herself worthy enough to be a proclaimer of the gospel. And so, interesting enough, in this particular story, what we find is that this woman has had five husbands. She's currently living with a man who is not her husband. And now she meets the seventh man in her life, which is Jesus. The number seven, biblically, is the number of completion. It took God 7 days to complete the making of. I'm sorry. The book of Genesis tells us that in 7 days, God did the complete creation phase, including a rest day. So we look at the completion of the creation story and includes a day of rest. So seven means completion. And so her life was now complete when she met the seventh man. And so I think that is probably like my biggest takeaway from this particular story is that once you meet Jesus, he's able to fulfill those gaps. He's able to fulfill those holes, those voids that you have in your life, and then give you a mission to go forward. What you guys have to say about that?
Well, what I love about, like you're saying at the end of it, it was to a place where she finally got that a man that saw her, and
Yeah.
he didn't just see her physical body. He wasn't attracted to trying to touch her. He was telling her that she could be whole, and she didn't have to go down this road of incompleteness. Excuse me, incompleteness anymore. So she finally got to a place that there was a man or the man that saw her,
Yeah.
and
He saw
that
her
within it.
worth, not her mistakes.
Yeah, and then at the same time,
So
he called her out, but he did it with love. He didn't hold it against her. He didn't call her out of her name or anything. He told her, I know this journey that you on.
Yeah.
So he held her accountable, gave her grace, and still saw her, and it changed the whole path in which she chose to go differently.
she was also, I got to give her credit because she was also open minded to hear
Hmm.
this wise counsel. You know, she could have been tight because she didn't want to be criticized for what she had deemed were mistakes, but she was open minded to say, let me listen to someone who I feel is compassionate and is speaks with wisdom.
It's the tone that he set, the atmosphere, it's the way
Yeah.
he spoke to her.
That's everything. And when
Yeah,
we
Hmm.
sometimes people want to correct or be this object of wisdom or um, um, guidance to people, but their approach is totally off, right? And that old saying, you can
yeah.
catch more with
Honey,
track more people with, was it sugar than boo boo? Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah,
You
Honey
can
and
catch
something, I
more
don't
flies
know.
with honey than you
yeah.
can
Yeah.
with vinegar.
Leave it at
Yeah,
that. Yeah, yeah. But that's the thing. So
yeah,
if you look at that example, how she not knowing him, right? But we talked about when we was discussing this yesterday that he knew her, but not only did he know her, he wasn't this harsh, judgmental person
yeah.
towards her that was trying to belittle her or shame her, into doing something different. And I think that's what a lot of people do. We try to use shame and guilt with folks to change their behavior. And I just think that example that the woman at the well, when he interacted with her, he did it lovingly, and she went and told the people about this man that told, what did she say, that knows all things, told me all things about me.
He told me everything
Yeah,
about my, in other words, we had to put it in
All the
modern day
things I've
time.
done.
He read me, he clocked
yeah.
me.
But how many times have people tried to come to you with correction, and it came with some of the harshest critique, the ugliness, as if that they was the orchestrators of everything that's right, right? And here we are, God in the flesh, that
Hmm.
he didn't take that approach with her. And I think that's what made the biggest difference.
Hmm.
Yeah. Oftentimes we try to fix what we don't understand,
Yeah,
which is not the right approach to take at all. But we can have compassion for the things we do understand. And so when
yeah,
he was able to see her and he knew her story, and because that he understood the challenges that she had went through, he could have compassion because he
the
understood.
compassion.
He didn't
Hmm.
judge. He wasn't trying to fix. He was trying to
Yeah.
guide. And that's the difference.
Yeah, in First Peter, I think it's 3:16, he says, "Revere Christ as Lord." I always give a answer for the hope you have, but it says, "Do this with gentleness and kindness." And I
Hmm.
think
Yeah.
people are ready to give the answer for the hope they have, but they do it ugly and unloving. And I just think you lose people and all that. First Corinthians, not to be overly biblical about it, but it talks about, if I have know the tongues of angels, but have not love, then I am nothing. And I
Hmm.
think people just forget that part of it, or they go in it with the wrong spirit, and again try to belittle people and shame people and guilt people into a changed behavior. And don't think that's the way that we should be.
Yeah. Yeah. What are the comments like for tonight?
Yeah, let's go to them. Let's go to them. Hey, first, before we do the comments, how about we go to a commercial and then we'll come back and we'll jump straight to the comments. Y'all good with that?
Commercial
Sounds good.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 That's an oldie but goodie right here.
Uh-oh.
Your success ain't gonna happen overnight. It may take a year, it may take 2 years, it may even take 10 years. For some people, it might take even longer than that. But one thing I do know, as long as you keep fighting and staying consistent, you will make it. Look in the mirror and ask yourself, are you gonna make it?
Step in that water, step in that water, step in that water. Yeah. You gotta be willing to go out and get it. You gotta dive in it, go and get it. Step in that water, step in that water, step in that water. Yeah. You got
Step in that water, step in that water, step in that water.
So if you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, we tell you that Miracle is the official barber of the Floor is Yours podcast. He's
Yeah.
out in the Colony, Texas. Check him out, for all your haircut, your beard needs, and even got some merchandise. So hey,
I think
shout
he'll
out.
even do your eyebrows.
Yeah, he'll do your eyebrows too. Yeah, shout out to the homie Miracle. Yeah. So let's go to the comments. They came in, and this is for me is the one of the better parts of the show. I always love when I see some of my family and friends in there. So
Hey,
Denisha,
Denisha.
yeah, she said hello. Tina was laughing earlier when Misha was talking about her.
Leggings in the Amazon carts.
Say you got like a 50 pack of of yoga pants. Like,
Sitting there, cash at me.
yeah. It's always a pleasure to see Carlika.
Hey.
Hey, Carlika.
Hey, Carlika.
Yeah, and my fam, we call him Cool Crazy. Cool. He said I don't see it as a contradiction earlier, and that's when you was talking about Gregory, the example about the car and whatnot. And we kind of unpacked that one right there. And Carlika said maybe with other men. So this was about men being open.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that there is a part of some men that don't want to show their weakness or their vulnerability or their transparency with women because some about society says that we have to have it all together, right? And I get not wanting to show it to everybody and anybody, but I think it can become not a not so good thing when you're not being honest with the people you're interacting with and leading yourself as this I got it all together person, right? So
yeah, absolutely.
Here's another says now if that man come out, a woman gonna look at that man different. Yeah, you're right. That's the society, right? We do look at men differently when they perform or behave in a certain manner. So yeah,
we do.
What does come out mean?
Come out the closet.
I think what he means
when he expresses his
vulnerability,
weaknesses, his weaknesses, his fears, his doubts, those type of things.
Yeah.
So we look at them totally different.
Sometimes,
that's the assumption. That's the assumption we have as men. Yeah,
well, let me say this. So some women do because I'm not. When I don't fit in boats, I don't put myself.
Come on, Misha. Show us the difference. I love it.
Oh, I'm just being real because I know we have it bad saying when we.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a turn on for me because I know he feels and definitely he want to come out of that place and that's not a desire for him anymore. Like I said, it's growth and maturity that comes with it too.
I love that. I'm gonna let Gregory address this one right here.
Healed men and women show up differently. It is true. Healed people. Here's one of my favorite quotes. We don't see life as it is. We see life as we are. Right. And so when you are a healed person, you can receive communication, you can receive critiques from your person and know that this isn't to hurt, but this is to help. But if you are unhealed, any type of small critique or criticism is taken as a threat or an assault or shots fired. And you feel like you got to protect and retaliate. And so healed people know how to receive criticism, input, and feedback without needing having a desire to attack in return.
Yeah, and just to add to that too. Now, our critique ain't created the same either. So even a healed person can be attacked by unloving people, and then they'll be labeled as you don't like accountability. Like, I just don't like that raggedy. Now I'm just leave it at that. But
the raggedy approach.
Yeah, man, going on now. No,
put some respect on my name.
Yeah, I'll let I see you want to take this one.
He said accountability is a hard fact for a lot of people to grasp. Once again, when you are in a different mindset, it is because when I look at Jesus, he held a lot of people accountable, and I only got to learn how accountability was the only way you were going to get to a better you is when there was accountability there. And I will agree that if you're in a certain place in life, it will be hard to hear or be held accountable when you're not willing to change and you want to be project or be on your defense. You're like, oh no. But when you really want it, that A word is gonna free you.
The apple.
That accountability.
Okay, I got you. I got you. Hey,
Yes.
let both y'all address this. I like this one right here. It says a woman can have a beautiful face and body, but if the mind not beautiful, a grown man not gonna be there for a long time, just for a good time. So let's talk about that. A woman can have a beautiful face, but her mind or her spirit is not um, matching.
I'm here for a good time, not a long time.
That yeah,
Baby.
that is bars right there. That is fact. A mature man is not going to be satisfied with a woman whose greatest gift is her body, because he's going to get tired of it. He's going to get bored with it. You can only do so much with that before he gets old. What a man really wants, and it's a secret that most men haven't told you, is a man that pours into him and makes him feel like he can accomplish things that he never thought he could accomplish before her. I feel stronger because I'm with you. I feel more capable because I'm with you. That's the type of man that a woman wants to keep.
Yeah,
But a
and Misha,
beautiful
I think
body can be found everywhere.
yeah, and Misha, I think what Gregory's saying is absolutely right to pour it in, but how you pour in doesn't that matter, right? You just can't be.
Oh yeah, because let me tell you something about this. He said a woman can have a beautiful face and a body, but her mind is not beautiful. That grown man won't be there. She fine. She look good. She
Hmm.
can back that thing up and all that. And that's the tool that she'll use to continue when she don't have a mind or a place of knowing who she is to stimulate the man while outside of her body. She gonna always use it for that gain. But she will eventually not keep him there because there is a place of intimacy that a man and a woman wants. And it's not always the physical, I mean, we want things that look nice, but that shouldn't be all the only thing that keeps us together. Balance there. Honey, let me tell you something. I'm like that with a man. Honey, he can be fine and smell good. And Lord knows I love him for him to smell good. You just walk past and just be like, what you got on, in the breeze. But it's something about a man that cannot keep my attention. He cannot make me laugh. And he does not know how to hold a conversation that keeps me intrigued and wants me to know more and all of these different things. No. I don't care how good you look in them jeans and how good you smell either.
It don't matter.
No.
Yeah,
And your
appreciate
car cleaned up and you got your little nails out. I don't care.
it. Yeah. Our classmate Shay, appreciate you tuning in. Yes, please go back to the replay.
Yes.
They both have
Thank you,
dropped a
Shay.
lot of wisdom, and I think you'll be blessed for it. So yeah.
Yeah.
And Cool said
Oh,
when
he was
he
saying when they
expressed
express
his
their
feelings.
feelings. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, he was talking about that earlier and a good right on. So this was good, but I told both of y'all I was gonna ask y'all this question. And I hope y'all prepared a little bit, to
Mm.
answer it. But um, one thing that I hear people say a lot and they'll end up in failed relationships is no one told me how to be a husband or no one taught me how to be a wife. So they essentially are saying that they didn't know what love looks like. So they accepted a counterfeit love or a temporary love or just some emotional driven love. And then when the feelings went away, they didn't know how to sustain themselves or help sustain the relationship. So I'll ask ladies first, if you will, if you had to give some advice based off of what you learned and what you know now, like how would you describe a healthy love? Like what does that look like if you had to tell
Well,
somebody?
it's funny that you said worded like that because I wrote down something earlier. It's like the well-being of the well it'll be the well-being of my total being. So love for me would be that it could tap into every part of me that would balance me out from hurt, disappointment, failure, but still uplift me in areas that needed some tweaking, that would cause me to evolve, that would cause me to keep me free, um, and allow me to continue to be all of me in any space, um that would just fill me up. That's just my take on it. So that's all I got to say on that.
I like that. I like that. Yeah. Greg, do you want to respond to that or just go and answer the question yourself?
Oh no, I think she's right on point. Amisha, I rarely disagree with you. I think you're absolutely right. The ability to be who you are unapologetically in front of somebody who enjoys you being unapologetically you is what love should look like. I get asked the question a lot from women, how do I know I found the right man? I always say this: marry the man that makes you feel like God is loving you through him. Marry the man who you feel like God is using him as a tool to show you his love. That to me is uh, is the pathway to true happiness, where you can be unapologetically who you are. That means in your pursuits, your goals, your ambitions, your fears, your stresses, whatever it may be, and this person receives it and is able to hold your hand and walk you through it. But at the end of the day, love is sacrifice. Love is a person's willingness and eagerness to put forth the effort to do whatever it takes so that that relationship can work and so that you can succeed. When you look at the love between a parent and a child, there's not much a parent wouldn't do to protect or to prosper their children. And so you want that in your relationship as well. Love is sacrifice.
Absolutely, and I like that you said that it's sacrificial. I know the pastor I learned under Blake used to correct people because people would say love is unconditional. He was like, no, it's not. It's sacrificial because it was unconditional. By definition, that means you're gonna take whatever that person does to you with no regard to how it makes you feel or how it affects their relationship. I think it is sacrificial and it is considerate. We talked about it, what it was in First Corinthians 13 when it says love is patient, love is kind, doesn't envy, doesn't boast. It's the other adjectives in there as well. But I like what Shay says here too. She said, healthy love is covering me and holding space for me. And I like the second
Hmm.
one, that holding space for me. And I think that's sacrificial too, right, Gregory? Would you describe that holding
Yeah.
space as an act of sacrifice?
Oh yeah, absolutely. The greatest love you can feel is when you feel seen and appreciated at the same time. Because
Mhm.
that's all we really want. We want a partner that sees us. And we have people that love us. Our parents love us, our children loves us. But if done correctly, the marriage is the closest, most intimate relationship that we will ever experience in our lifetime. And we want that person to see us in a greater way that no one else can ever see us in our lifetime.
Yeah. Yeah. Last week, Misha, you talked about love and relationship in the form of like the stock market, and in the terms of investing. And I
Mhm.
think a lot of what Gregory talked about also reflects that as well, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because stocks go up. I mean, I could have looked at mine yesterday. It could have been a good 1,300. Tomorrow, maybe today, it may be 900. But there's still value there. It's just right now there's a bump in the road, and we got to know how to get back up. It's like it's a strong pulse, or you can flatline. And if you have an irregular pulse, what do you do to make it strong? If they tell you you dehydrated, what you got to do? You got to get some sodium, potassium, magnesium. You have to put in the necessary work to get the body back right. If they tell you you got to get your protein up, that means you got to go in and you got to find chicken, cottage cheese. You have to now put the substance back in this thing to get there. I can go on because I'm really
Yeah.
about this life right about now. But I'm just
Yeah.
saying, it is like the stock market. Sometimes it will crash, but it will get better.
Yeah.
I love that. I love
It'll
that.
rise
I
back
love
up.
that because because people always want to say it's 50-50. But you know what? There's some days when I can only give 30 and you're going to have to give 70. And then conversely, I can give 80, you can only give 20. And it doesn't mean it's a bad relationship. It just means it's just a bad day. It's just
Right.
the way that relationships work. It's a lot of ups and downs, and you got to be able to pivot and move and
Yeah.
stay in that flow.
You're human, right? And even as great as a person you are, you're still human.
Yeah. Well, I
Hmm.
mean, that's just like the weather. It's unexpected storms. We 80 degrees the other night. Then they said a storm was coming in. The wind bent in the trees and we hot. This morning you needed a coat with your Ugg boots. Well,
You're
guess
right.
what? Tomorrow is gonna be probably sunny.
Yeah.
The temperature will change. The atmosphere will shift. It's all about how you now address appropriately for the storm or the weather change or be prepared for it. Because even though you wasn't expect, come on, Holy Ghost, even though you wasn't expected to be cold, you knew you had to keep a coat somewhere, whether you keep one in your trunk or you knew to grab one coming out. It's preparation for anything. You don't know when it's gonna happen,
Yeah.
but some things are gonna pop up unexpectedly. If you
Yeah,
know you don't
yeah.
pack your lunch and you hungry, guess what you're gonna do? You're gonna find yourself over there at that vending machine. It might not be what you need, but you're gonna get them Cheetos to have your snack. Okay.
Yeah. We talked about last week, Gregory, about men needing to feel appreciated. And so I
Mm-hmm.
like what Shay's saying here. That's across the board with everybody. Being seen
Everybody.
and appreciated. And I think when you think about one of the worst feelings that you can ever experience is to think that the person that you love the most, that you're in relationship with, in closest proximity to, don't see you and don't appreciate you. Right?
Yeah. And they saw you as an option, but you saw them as a priority. Is
Yeah.
one of the most heartbreaking things that you can experience. And at the end of the day, I just want to remind people that love is worth it. Love is one of the rarest and most precious things you can ever find. You just can't go to Target and buy you a new batch of love.
Mm.
It is when you find it, hold on to it. And if someone is willing to put forth the effort and you're willing to put forth the effort, do it because love is worth the work.
Yeah. Amen.
Yes, it's about like that car Gregory was talking about earlier. The way he said he was gonna buy it and he needed to put it in the garage and he was gonna cover that
Look,
thing. He was gonna cover that thing up and he was gonna make sure the gas tank was full and he was gonna make
Put
sure
an
that oil
alarm on
change
it, you
was
know?
ready. He was gonna make sure that everything was gonna always be in
Hmm.
order. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. I'm gonna
Yeah.
protect what's mine.
You
yeah, I get it, bro. I get it. It's yours.
Hmm.
that appreciation. All I'm saying, appreciation. I need to know. I want you to know I'm appreciative. If you know I like shrimp and eggs, and you can fix them on the stove and put it on a plate when I get there with a little parsley, I appreciate the fact that you was considerate enough to try to feed me. You don't
Amen.
have to spend a lot of money. You just got to know, pay attention to the small things that I like.
Come
Yeah,
on now.
it's
Yeah.
good. It's good. You said I agree with that. Seeing a person like no other person sees them is very deep. You're right. Yeah, and that's what back to the woman at the well. He knew her, and if another verse, Peter verse, it says, "The well with her with understanding." Some versions say, "Take in knowledge of her," and I think that's important is to know her, but also don't have this judgmental eye with her, and that allows her to grow and not worry about being chastised and
Right.
judged and all that. Then she can focus on that personal growth, which makes the relationship even better. So,
Yeah, because y'all wouldn't think I'd be out there want to tell my man I'll play you one-on-one on that basketball court.
roll them ankles though.
Wait, I'm not gonna roll no ankles. I'm gonna come out with I'm gonna come out with a
Jump shot.
fadeaway.
Yeah. So this is where we're gonna end the show, Gregory. We're gonna let you, if you don't mind, start off with some parting thoughts, wrap the discussion up as well. But
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it short, brief, and brilliant tonight because I know IC is gonna bring it. Listen, the major takeaway from this is no matter what men have misused you in the past, there is a man that knows your worth, and that is Jesus. This woman here came for some water, but she got living water instead. And she met a man that knew all about her, didn't judge her, didn't chastise her, but renewed her spirit and her life. And now, because she met the right man, she met the seventh man, she met the heavenly Father. Now she was renewed, and now she was ready to accomplish all that she was created for. So, no matter what is in your past, no matter what men has misused you, no matter what men didn't know your worth, there is a man that knows your value and he is welcoming you with open arms. And that's all I got to say.
preach, preacher. Uh,
Mm,
yeah, all right. I see what you got for the people.
come
Well,
on now.
well, well. I mean, I don't know. Well, I know we probably can't play like music on here because I don't know how we set up. We ain't gonna be blocked or nothing. But oh, if I had to take you back to an old song in 1989, and I just told my brothers, I just feel like it was a spiritual song that they put in a secular sense because they had to sell it. If I had to give y'all something, I would say y'all need to get love under new management. You hear me? And I just wanted to get over here and pull up some of the words. It says experience is a good teacher. I just that's believe that's what the woman at the well, she had an experience, but it began to be a good teacher. And then they said, there was a little game you play, and I feel like that's where she was when she was over here dipping and dapping with them 5 men plus 1 is 6, and then she came into this man. But and then some of us we called it love. That's what she probably did. But anyway, as she goes, you never get a chance to grow in those situations. And then you keep going and said, just be patient. She kept telling herself, true love you'll find. And then she said she finally found someone that became her friend. Come on, Jesus. He became a friend, right? I had to put my phone down. He became a friend. And she says, in a matter of time, real love stepped in. All I do know is that you need to find a place where you can be in love under new management. You don't have to be the old residue of how things were and keep yourself attracted, or being where people sniffing the wrong fragrance of you. Women have a fragrance and men have this fragrance too. Change your fragrance. Your mindset, get away from tainted water that has caused you to be stagnant in some areas, and you just need to get in a new management situation. This is how I'm doing it. So you can find you a new world of happiness, and you'll find somebody that will turn your world completely around. Love under new management. That's my motto for you all in 2026. Love under new management.
You better sing and sing like you can. And just my brief input on this is, you see these stories and you can take something different from it. And what I took from it was that this encounter happened because she was seeking clean water, right? She wasn't staying to what was close in proximity to her. If you know something about the whole setup of these wells that are, in the town, you have to walk and travel to them. And I think sometimes we don't want to walk and do the work to get to a better place in our lives, if you will. And she did that, and that allowed her to have a different experience. Sometimes you gotta get out of your comfort zones, and stop dealing with the familiar and try something different. You have to go to a market where people value you, and they're not going to judge you, and they're going to treat you right. And I think sometimes it's scared, right? Because we don't like change. We avoid change. And let's be honest too. We talked about this once before, Gregory, on the show, that some people stay in a not so favorable situation because that keeps them from having to grow and mature as well. When you wit better, you're gonna have to perform better. You can't desire, or you shouldn't desire extraordinary, but you're only giving ordinary effort. So that's one of the takeaways I went, is that she traveled, she put in the work to get to where she wanted to get. And when I was reading one of the write-ups on that, one of the things that she did as well is she had to change her palate. She was used to tasting and began to taste fresh water too, and know that she deserved it. And that's the other thing. It goes back to knowing your value and knowing your worth, know how God sees you. And that way, when somebody try to treat you any way less than what God sees you, that ain't for you.
So in other words, Gerard is saying you need 10,000 steps if you've been doing 3, because that 10,000 gonna get you over there where you need to be.
Hey,
Stop being over there eating chicken with your fingers, and pick up a knife and fork and cut that chicken breast with some sauteed greens and a little bit of potatoes on a fancy plate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like Gregory said, he stopped saying doing the work, but you got to put the effort in.
Yes, that's good. That's good.
Yeah. Gregory.
Yes, sir. It's been fun. It's been great. It's been wonderful. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching us tonight. We really do appreciate it. We enjoyed the comments. So keep them coming. Even after the show is over, we still like to dip into the comments, and you may just hear from one of us also. So please keep the comments coming. We love to hear from you. Here at The Floor Is Yours, we see women as value. So it is our promise that women will always get in free on The Floor Is Yours podcast. There is no cover charge for women when watching The Floor Is Yours podcast. So thank you so much for watching. Again, like, share, and subscribe. Tell everybody about the podcast so we can keep the movement going. We love being Black, and we love Black people. And so whether or not you shop at Target or you don't shop at Target, you still family to us. But until next time, we love you. Peace, love, hair grease. We out, y'all.
Need another, this one here really do it for you.
Baby, you